One of the sayings that we have here at Coaches Console and in our community is to create a business beyond your wildest dreams so you can live the lifestyle beyond your wildest dreams. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about what my lifestyle beyond my wildest dreams really looks like. Now, I'm back from my vacation. I've been gone for 2 weeks skiing in the French Alps and traveling through South Africa on an amazing safari, going through the beautiful lands of Cape Town. And I'm now back home just taking today to fully integrate and allow myself to kind of catch up with myself, because I've experienced a lot in the last 2 weeks. And when I do these, they're short, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. But today when I was thinking about what does my lifestyle beyond my wildest dreams really look like and conveying that to you, there's 8 things that I want to share with you. I've actually written them down. So you'll see me glance at my notes every now and then, because I think it's important to really dissect, because one of the things that you must be careful of as a successful entrepreneur is not judging what your behind the scenes looks like, comparing it to other people's front of the house, right? So like in theater or music or concerts, you've got the front of the house, what everybody sees, and then you have back of the house, what really goes on, right? And one of the dangerous pitfalls that we can fall into is that we know what's going on behind the scenes in our own business. We look at our gurus, our mentors, our teachers, our guides, other people that we see as successful, and we compare their front of the house to our back of the house. Very dangerous, because you have no idea what the context is, what's going on for them, what's really happening. So I just wanted to give you a peek behind my scenes so you can really see what's happening. I try to be that, WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. I'm an open book, and I share any and all parts of my life with you so that you can also learn as you create your business and your life. So here's 8 things that I wanted to share with you about my lifestyle beyond my wildest dreams. You see, several years ago, about 10 years ago, I got myself into some financial trouble. I was in debt to a huge degree. I was almost $40,000 in debt. At the time, there should have been a few more zeros. That's how massive it felt. But I vowed to myself at that moment that I would never let money be the reason I didn't get to experience something that I wanted to experience. Whether it was big or small, it didn't matter. Money was never going to be that reason. Now, it took me a few years to turn my financial troubles around and to create a better financial picture for myself, which I have today. And money is not a reason. And on my path, one of the things that I did was I learned how to get really creative. I would have my desire list, and there might be somewhere I wanted to go or something I wanted to have or be or do or experience. And if I couldn't afford it, because a lot of times I didn't have the money, but I would always ask the question, how can I afford this? And that allowed me to get super creative. So for example, with some of the group travel that I've done in the past, a lot of times when you are the group leader and you organize your trips, you get a comp and you go for free. Now, it's not for free because you're putting in a lot of time. So you're trading time for money in that way, but it allows you to really get clear and get creative in how you can afford it. So my lifestyle beyond my wildest dreams, I'm always asking myself, how can I afford that? And then as I evolve, my desires spiral upward. Some things might be more expensive than I could have afforded back then, and I allow my desires to grow with me. The second thing behind the lifestyle beyond my wildest dreams is I also vowed that vacation would never be a reason or not having enough vacation would never be a reason that I couldn't travel. I have this deep desire to see and experience the world. Where I live in Virginia is a beautiful place, and I always love coming home to this. And I think there's a lot of incredible places in this world. I want to see them. Now, I grew up traveling. When I was a little girl, my grandparents had a motor home, and we would travel all over, going to campgrounds. And my parents, in the youth groups that we were in, we would always do camping trips. So we were camping and traveling. By the time I was in 5th grade, I'd been to almost every one of the states in the United States. So traveling has always been a big love of my life. I just got back from South Africa and from France, and we got to have a little stop in Cairo and Egypt and a little transfer in Dubai. And so I'm expanding where I've been traveling, and traveling is just one of the things that lights me up. So time was never going to be a reason why I couldn't travel. And sometimes I don't have the time. So sometimes I have to get clear on my priorities, because it's never a time issue. It's never about time management. It's about priority management. So I get clear on what's important to me, to know when do I need to put my attention on certain aspects of my life or my business, and when do I need to put attention on aspects such as travel and exploring places. So this year I've never done this before, but I'm actually going to be traveling 16 weeks this year. So most travel I've ever done. 6 of those weeks are work related, going to mastermind events, different conferences and workshops that I'm a part of. But 10 of those weeks are pure fun. And again, it's how sometimes I'm doing it with my husband. We just got back from the 2 weeks of vacation that we were on together. It's the first time we've ever had 2 full weeks of vacation like that. And so I'm expanding my travel freedom, right? So money freedom and travel freedom. Those are 2 important things for what my lifestyle beyond my wildest dreams look like. The other thing that is really core behind everything for my lifestyle is my desire list. As a woman, as a female entrepreneur, as a female business owner and leader, one of the things that I know for sure is that my desires, what lights me up and turns me on, is imperative to inspire myself and the people around me to turn those passions and ideas and concepts into reality. So my desire list is something that I'm always paying attention to. Have you created a desire list of 100 desires? If you haven't, I highly recommend that you get busy right now creating your list of 100 desires. I spend a lot of my time behind the scenes when I'm not working at my desk or on projects, really putting attention on what are my desires. And it could be something simple as to enjoy a walk in a park barefoot on a beautiful spring day. It could be something to go to a new country that I've never been to, or like going to Cape Town. Never been to Cape Town. I always wanted to experience that. So it could be something very small. It could be something gigantic. There's no degree of desires, but your desire list, especially as the feminine that you're bringing forth in your business, in your life, is super important and part of the core of what drives your turn on, your passion, your energy, and your inspiration. You must pay attention to your desire list, and that's something, it's like a beacon for me in my life and my business. Then the 4th one, this is one, I used to have a serious issue with being seen, putting myself out there. It's kind of interesting because I do these Facebook Lives almost every day now, but for the longest time, I was the queen of invisible. Like I was behind the scenes, systems, processes, organization, and efficiency, so everything and everyone else could be great. And now I'm stepping into my own power, so that the way I describe this, I don't know if it'll make sense to you, but the way I describe this is so that my insides, what I'm thinking and feeling and believing on the inside of me, energetically and intellectually, physically, matches the outside. Like there's no disconnect. A long time ago, when I was actually married to my first husband at that time, I learned, and this is hindsight learning, right? I learned that I wore a lot of masks, and I thought I had to be who I needed to be depending on who I was hanging around with. So I didn't really know myself, and I wasn't congruent with myself. And now in the journey that I've had in sisterhood and in the own work that I've done with the feminine, the woman that I show up in my marriage, with my kids, with my family, in my business, with my colleagues, with strangers, like it's congruent across the board. So my outsides match my insides. And transparency is where you have total control. Transparency is where you get into alignment with yourself and you don't have that internal argument. So a big contributor to my living my lifestyle beyond my wildest dreams is that emotional freedom, right? So money freedom, time freedom, creativity, freedom of creativity, and then emotional freedom, so that I'm not spending a lot of time dealing with turmoil. I reach for my tools, I reach for my support mechanisms and everything that I've learned in my journey to help me be transparent and showing up, so it's what you see is what you get. And then I can bring all of me to my business, all of me to my marriage, all of me to my life, my friends, my family, my projects, everything that I'm doing, so there's more of me to give of the overflow. Another thing with my lifestyle beyond my wildest dreams, and this doesn't mean that this is what it has to be for you, but I find that there's some commonalities between entrepreneurs, which is why I wanted to share all this today. But another one is research. Everything I do, I put on the hat of the researcher. I don't make decisions or try to analyze too much, because then I get stuck in the villains and gremlins of perfectionism, over analyzing, comparison Connie, no good Ned, all those villains that show up in our life. And I can be the researcher, and I can ask what's working, what's not working, what am I tolerating, and what can I do differently? Those 4 questions, some of the most powerful questions I ask myself on a regular basis every day, whether it relates to my business or my personal life. What am I doing? What's working well? What's not working well? What am I tolerating? And what can I do differently? Now, I am a babe in total control of myself. Have you ever seen that acronym, BITCH? BITCH, babe in total control of herself. And the transparency and the research in those 4 questions help you to stand grounded in that rooted position. Self-care, 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 self-care. Self-care and pleasure, knowing what lights me up and turns me on, that's the essence of everything. And I have exquisite self-care practices that I'm always improving, constant and never-ending improvement. It's like a continuous spiral upward of an evolution. So self-care and pleasure, like it's for every woman, that is your ultimate, your turn on is your greatest power. And when you can tap into that and identify that, unleash that in this world, you become unstoppable. The 7th one is, and this kind of goes into my morning, my self-care and pleasure, I have a 3-hour morning ritual. I have learned that in order to show up as my best, and this took a lot of research over the years, but for me personally, to show up at my best, I have to have a lot that I put into me in my morning time. That 3-hour window is a sacred window. Sometimes I usually get to work about 9 o'clock each morning. Sometimes I have to be at work a little earlier. It doesn't mean my 3-hour ritual shrinks. It means I wake up earlier. Because it's a discipline that I know that when I have that 3-hour morning ritual, I know I'm bringing all of me to my team, my projects, my work, my clients, everything I'm doing, my family. So I'm giving of the overflow and giving all of me. When I don't have that morning ritual, I begin to sputter on the fumes. It's not good for me. I don't like working that way. I don't give my best to my clients. My husband feels it when he comes home at the end of the day. I'm kind of short and cranky with him. So I've learned that in order to be my best, investing in myself first thing in the morning is what's paramount for me. Now, some people, they're night people. I'm not a nighttime person. I love going to bed early. I was in bed at 9:30 last night. I think some of that's the jet lag from the South Africa time to back here, but I love going to bed early, so I invest in myself. Whatever that is for you, invest in yourself so you can bring all of you to everything. You'll think quicker. You'll be more creative. You'll have better problem solving. You'll identify projects sooner. You'll know the resources, and everything just clicks along. I have this saying, sometimes you have to slow down to speed up. And this is one of those areas when in that morning ritual, I might have a really long to-do list, but when I can slow down and spend that time in my morning ritual, the rest of my day flows effortlessly. And I usually have more time on the back end for other things that I want to do. And then the final thing is support. What allows me to live the lifestyle beyond my wildest dreams is insane levels of support. We cannot do this by ourselves, women. Anybody, men, you too. And especially the female entrepreneurs out there. We cannot do this isolated, alone. That is not the feminine approach. That is a masculine approach. So they do have, men, you guys have a lot greater success. That's that hero's journey, right? Like you go out into the wilderness and you conquer the dragon, right? You go out by yourself and you find your brute strength to survive. Women, we collaborate, we connect. So the female, the feminine in me, in order to live the lifestyle beyond my wildest dreams and do what I want, my desires, and have that flourish, I have to have impeccable support behind me. And this ranges everything from, I'm married to my husband, who is the legendary love affair of my life, right? So I've got amazing support in my relationship. I have I've spent 8 years building a conscious community of girlfriends here in my local area and worldwide to really connect at that level that I need as a woman. To be the best wife that I can be, the best stepmother that I can be, the best family member, friend, colleague, boss, leader, everything, so that I can be the best that I can be. It also is making sure that I have a coach, so that when I bump into stuff, I'm not spending my time struggling, I'm spending my time creatively moving through it. A mastermind, having that collective group in my team and my business. The other support looks like making sure that I have massages regularly. I do a massage once a month. If I have heightened activity, I might do it once a week, but regularly once a month. Every other week, I'm getting a manicure, pedicure, because I love that. It's part of my self-care ritual. Reiki, having good connection with an integrative medical specialist so that my health and wellness is top priority for me. So those are some of the elements that I make sure that I have in place to have impeccable, exquisite support surrounding me, because this is not something that we can do by ourselves. So if you want to live the lifestyle beyond your wildest dreams, the first thing to do is you've got to define what that looks like for you. I've shared a little bit behind the scenes for me, so you know what that means and what it looks like. Kind of gave you a sneak peek over the last 2 weeks as I was in France skiing and as I was on the safari, so you got an idea. I'll be doing it again as I go to California and to Italy and to England and back to South Africa, because I love it so much, and all the other places, in Croatia and all the other places that I'll be traveling. So you'll continue to see how much I love traveling and how I balance work and business and team and life, so it's all flowing beautifully. So I would love to hear from you. What are some of the defining attributes for your lifestyle beyond your wildest dreams? Because if you don't have that created, a good friend of mine in one of my masterminds, some of the words of wisdom that he shared was, if you don't know what you want to do with your time, it's just going to get filled with the busyness. The busyness of work, the busyness of family, the busyness of kids, and some of that might be important. And I want to make sure that you're consciously constructing the lifestyle beyond your wildest dreams for what lights you up and what turns you on. If you're sitting there scratching your head going, I don't even know where to begin, the best place to start, your desire list. What do you desire? Create a list of 100 desires, and it can be big or little. There is no degree of desire. And just let yourself what you want, simply because you want it. If it's something that lights you up, who cares why it does or doesn't light you up? Just allow yourself to want that thing and put it on your desire list. No attachment. Don't figure out the how. Don't figure out the timing. That's not your spot. Just post your desire list. It's always a great place to start, so that you can begin consciously and intentionally crafting and creating the lifestyle beyond your wildest dreams. After all, it's one of the biggest reasons why we're spending so much time and energy dissecting our businesses and list building and marketing and converting and enrolling sample sessions and supporting clients. And it's so important to really get clear on your lifestyle first, because then that's the beacon that drives all the details and sometimes the mundaneness of business that's important for us to pay attention to. I can't wait to hear what drives your lifestyle, and share some of your desires. Comment below, and let's keep this growing. We'll inspire each other to take each other higher.